You know what nobody tells you about being broke? It's not just about the number in your bank account. It's the mental gymnastics you do every single day. You're checking your balance before buying coffee. You're doing math in the grocery store aisle. You're declining plans with friends because you can't say "I'm broke" again without sounding like a broken record. And everywhere you look, there's someone telling you the solution. Just save more, cut back on lattes, make a budget. Thanks, Karen. Revolutionary advice. But I'm about to share something that actually worked, not some complicated financial strategy that requires you to already have money to make money. This is stupidly simple, almost embarrassingly simple, but it changed everything for me. It's called the $20 rule. And before you click away, in 2025, 48% of Gen Z is living paycheck to paycheck. That's real data. Nearly half of young adults can't save because they're spending almost twice as much as they have. For every dollar they save, they're spending two. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite being broke, 72% of those same people took action to improve their financial situation last year. They want to save. They're trying to save. They're just doing it wrong because nobody taught them how to build a savings habit from zero. Hi, I'm Matt. On this channel, I break down personal finance and money strategies that actually work for real people, not trust fund kids. If you're tired of generic financial advice that assumes you already have money, hit that subscribe button. Now, this $20 rule is going to sound too simple when I explain it. You're probably going to think, that's it? But this isn't about math. This is about hacking your brain's relationship with money, about creating a habit so automatic that not doing it feels weird. Let me tell you what's really happening in 2025. The average Gen Z person is carrying $94,101 in personal debt. That's the highest of any generation. And 41% can't cover a $2,000 emergency. Not won't, can't. Credit card debt among young people increased by 40% year over year. You know why? Financial avoidance. People are so stressed about money, they literally avoid looking at their accounts. So the debt just grows like financial mold. Here's what nobody talks about. In 2025, 70 million Americans are doing gig work. That's 36% of the entire workforce. And 32% of them believe they will always need their side hustle just to survive. Not to get ahead, to survive. The average side hustle makes $891 a month. That's groceries, that's rent gap. But here's the problem with gig money. It's inconsistent. You make $200 one week, $1,500 the next. Your brain doesn't know how to budget that. Traditional advice says save 20% of your income, but what's 20% of chaos? Before I show you how to make it stick, you need to understand why everything else fails. The 50-30-20 rule. You've heard this one, right? 50% of your income for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings. Beautiful on paper, absolutely useless when you're broke. First of all, when 48% of people are living paycheck to paycheck, there is no 30% for wants. There's 95% for needs and 5% for please let my car not break down this month. Second, that rule assumes stable income. It assumes you know exactly what you're making every month. But we just talked about the gig economy. We just talked about 70 million people whose income looks like a heart rate monitor during a panic attack. Here's what actually happens when you're broke and you try traditional savings advice. You set up automatic transfers. 20% of your paycheck goes straight to savings. Feels good, feels responsible, you're adulting. Then 3 days later, you need gas. 4 days later, your subscription you forgot about hits. 5 days later, you're transferring that money right back. Now you feel like a failure. Now you've proven to yourself that you can't save. Now the shame spiral starts. Or here's the other classic. Build a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Great advice, absolutely correct, completely useless if you can't even build a 3-day emergency fund. That's like telling someone who can't swim to just do a triathlon. The advice isn't wrong, it's just not the first step. That's what we're fighting. We're not fighting math, we're fighting psychology. The $20 rule fights psychology with psychology. So here's the actual rule, stupidly simple. Every time you get paid, and I mean any payment, paycheck, gig work, side hustle, birthday money from grandma, whatever, you put $20 into a separate savings account. That's it. That's the whole thing. I can already hear you. $20, that's your big secret? That's going to change my life? Yes, because this isn't about the $20. This is about hacking your brain's relationship with money. This is about building a habit so automatic that not doing it feels weird. This is about creating a psychological barrier between you and being completely broke. Here's how it works, the actual mechanics. You open a new savings account. Has to be new. Has to start at zero. Can't be the account you've been putting money in and taking money out of for 5 years. Fresh start, clean slate. And you give it a name that means something. The Vault, the Freedom Fund, the finally not broke account. Something that makes you feel something when you see it. Pick one online. Most banks let you do this in about 5 minutes. Don't break your neck trying to find the perfect account with the perfect interest rate. That's just another way to procrastinate actually starting. Pick one, open it, move on. Now, here's the critical part. You choose a threshold. This is the amount of money you need to get in a payment before you put the $20 in. For some people, that's just every paycheck. For some, it's $100. If you're doing gig work and you have good days and bad days, maybe your threshold is $150. You made $150 or more in a shift or day or gig, put $20 in the account. And here's what you absolutely cannot do. Automate it. I know, everything tells you to automate your savings, set it and forget it. But no, you need to manually transfer that $20 every single time. You need to feel it. You need to watch the number go up. You need to create that neural pathway in your brain that says, I just got paid, now I saved $20. You do this again and again. Every time you hit that threshold, boom, $20. Hit it again, boom, another $20. Maybe you hit it 3 times in 1 week. That's $60. That's real money starting to stack up. Now, pause for a second because I need you to understand something. Some of you are already doing mental math. $20 a week is only $80 a month. That's nothing. And you're right, it is only $80 a month. You know what else it is? Infinitely more than the $0 you're saving now. It's also the difference between I can't cover an emergency and I can handle small stuff. But more importantly, it's the habit, because here's what happens. Once you get used to that $20 disappearing and your life not falling apart, you start to wonder if you could do $30, then $40, then maybe $50 on good weeks. I've watched people go from I can't save anything to I'm putting away $200 a month just by starting with $20.
Let's talk about what's really happening with money in 2025, because there's a whole other side to this story. Financial literacy scores just came out. Gen Z scored 38% on basic financial knowledge. That's an F. Schools don't teach this, parents are figuring it out themselves, everyone's just winging it. But here's what nobody talks about. Despite terrible financial education, something interesting is happening. Over 5.6 million freelancers are making over $100,000 a year right now. 5.6 million. That's not trust fund kids, that's gig workers who started with side hustles making $800 a month. What's the difference between someone making $800 a month on side gigs and someone making $100K? It's not luck, it's not connections, it's confidence. Financial confidence, the kind you build by proving to yourself you can save $20 consistently. Here's something wild. Someone did a study on gig workers and found that the ones who had even small emergency savings, just $500 to $1,000, were 3 times more likely to scale their income over the next year. Why? Because they could take risks. They could invest in equipment. They could turn down bad clients. They had breathing room. The $20 rule creates that breathing room. You're not moving money around, you're building a pile, and that pile is in a separate account so your brain stops seeing it as available money. It's gone. It's saved. Let me show you why this works for the gig economy specifically. Remember those 70 million gig workers? Their income is chaos. 1 month, $2,000, next month, $900. Traditional budgeting completely fails here. But $20? You always know what $20 is. You make $150 on a DoorDash shift, $20 goes to savings. You make $800 on a freelance project, $20 goes to savings. The consistency is the point. Your income is inconsistent. Your savings habit is consistent. That's the hack. And we're at the halfway point of this video, and I haven't even told you the best part yet. What I'm about to share changes how you think about money forever. It's about what happens after you build that first pile. It's about the confidence shift. In 2025, 78% of Gen Z said financial responsibility is an important trait in a potential partner, higher than sense of humor in some surveys. Why? Because everyone is broke and scared and they're looking for someone who has their financial life together. Money stress is literally changing how people approach relationships, careers, life decisions. If you can build financial stability, even just a little bit, you're not just changing your bank account, you're changing your entire life trajectory. Someone messaged me recently. They saved $1,200 using the $20 rule over 7 months. Not life-changing money, but for the first time in their adult life, they went to dinner with friends and didn't check their bank account first. They didn't calculate what they could afford while looking at the menu. They just ordered. That's freedom. Small freedom, but freedom nonetheless. Okay, let's break down the actual psychology of why the $20 rule works when everything else fails. There are 4 reasons, and they're all about your brain, not your bank account. First, it's simple enough to remember and small enough to start. Look, your brain is already tired. You're juggling work, or multiple gigs, or school, or all of the above. You're managing relationships and responsibilities and trying to remember to drink water and go outside occasionally. Adding calculate 20% of variable income and transfer it on the 3rd Thursday is not going to happen. But $20? You can remember $20. You can commit to $20. You can do $20 even on a bad week. It's not zero, so you feel like you're doing something. It's not huge, so you don't feel like you're sacrificing everything. It's the Goldilocks zone of savings habits. Small, consistent actions create stronger habits than large, irregular ones. You know why? Because your brain loves patterns. It loves routines. Every time you get paid and put $20 away, you're strengthening a neural pathway. You're teaching your brain, this is what we do. Eventually, it becomes automatic. Not literally automatic like a bank transfer, but psychologically automatic. You get a payment and your brain immediately thinks $20 to savings. You don't have to force yourself. You don't have to motivate yourself. It's just what you do. Second, it gamifies the experience and makes progress visible. This is huge. When you start at 0 in a brand new account and watch the number go up, something happens in your brain. It's the same thing that happens when you level up in a video game or watch your step counter climb. You're seeing progress in real time. When you see that number climb, $20, $40, $80, $140, $280, your brain starts to invest in the outcome. You start to care about making it bigger. You start to protect it. You start to think, what if I did $30 this week? That's the gamification working. Compare that to traditional savings where money goes in and comes out and goes in and comes out. There's no progress. There's no number going up. There's just chaos. And chaos doesn't motivate anyone. Third, it's zero risk and completely flexible. This is critical for people who are broke or close to broke. You're not locking this money away in a retirement account where you can't touch it for 30 years. You're not investing it in stocks that might crash. It's in a savings account. If you really need it, it's there. That safety net is what makes the habit sustainable. Because look, life happens. Your car needs new tires, your phone dies, you have an unexpected vet bill. You can take the money out, there's no penalty, there's no shame. You just take it out, handle the emergency, and then you start building it back up. I've seen people do this cycle 3 or 4 times in a year. Emergency happens, they pull from savings, they rebuild it. And you know what? Each time they rebuild it faster because the habit is stronger. They know they can do it because they've already done it. Fourth, it builds genuine confidence and changes your relationship with money. This is the big one. This is the reason that changes everything. When you're broke, you think of yourself as someone who can't save. That's your identity. I'm bad with money. I can't save. I've tried and I always fail. That story you tell yourself becomes reality because your actions follow your identity. But when you start the $20 rule and you do it successfully for a few weeks, that story starts to change. You're someone who saves. You're someone who has savings. You're someone who can build a pile of money and not immediately spend it. That's a different identity. That's a different story. And once you believe you're someone who can save, you start acting like someone who can save. Maybe you look for extra shifts. Maybe you negotiate a client rate a little higher. You're not depriving yourself. You're choosing the thing that aligns with your new identity. Someone messaged me recently. They saved $2,000 using the $20 rule over about 8 months. Nothing crazy. Then their laptop died. Complete failure. They pulled $1,400 from savings, bought a refurbished one, and still had $600 left. They said the crazy part wasn't having the money, it was how calm they felt. No panic, no stress, just, okay, I'll handle this. That's what confidence looks like.
All right, let's get specific. You're going to start the $20 rule. Here's exactly how to do it and what to avoid. Step 1, open that new account right now. Not tomorrow, not when you get your next paycheck, right now. Most banks let you open a savings account online in about 5 minutes. Pick one. Doesn't have to be perfect, just pick one and open it. Start at 0. Name it something that matters to you. Step 2, decide your threshold. What amount do you need to make before you trigger the $20 deposit? If you get a regular paycheck every 2 weeks, your threshold might be every paycheck. If you do gig work, maybe it's every time I make $100 in a day or every time I complete a project. Make it specific, make it clear, make it something you can remember. Step 3, make your first deposit. $20 right now. Before you finish watching this video, go put $20 in that account. Seriously, pause this video, transfer $20, come back. Because the hardest part is starting, and you need to prove to yourself that you can do it. Once it's done once, it's easier to do again. Step 4, track it. Not obsessively, but check that account maybe once a week. Watch the number grow. Let your brain see the progress. Let yourself feel good about it. This is important. You need the positive reinforcement. You need to associate saving with good feelings, not deprivation and sacrifice. Now, here's what not to do. Don't compare yourself to other people's savings. Someone's got $50,000 saved and you've got $200. Good for them. You're not competing with them. You're competing with the version of yourself who had $0 saved last month. Don't get discouraged if you have to pull money out. That's what it's there for. Emergencies happen. Life happens. The account is a tool, not a test. You're not failing if you use your savings for an actual emergency. You're succeeding at exactly what savings is supposed to do. Don't wait until you're making more money to start. That day never comes. There's always something else you need, always another bill, always a reason to wait. Start now with $20. Start now with what you have. Future you will be grateful. Let's talk about the order of operations for your money, because the $20 rule is step 1, but there are other steps. Level 1, build the $20 habit. Just focus on making it consistent. Don't worry about the amount yet. Just prove you can do it regularly. Level 2, increase the amount as you can. Once $20 feels easy, try $30, then $40, then $50. Some weeks might be $20, some might be $50. That's fine. The habit is what matters. Level 3, build to a $2,000 emergency fund. This is your first real goal. $2,000 covers most small emergencies. Car repair, phone replacement, unexpected bill. Get there and your stress level drops significantly. Level 4, push to 3 months of expenses. This is traditional emergency fund territory. Calculate your actual monthly expenses, rent, food, bills, minimum payments on everything, multiply by 3, that's your target. This might take a year. That's okay. You're building security, not racing. Here's what this looks like in practice. Someone started the $20 rule in January 2024. By December, they had $1,180 saved. In that same year, they had 3 emergencies: car issue, phone crack, unexpected vet bill. They pulled about $600 total from savings across those 3 things. Ended the year with $580 still saved, having handled 3 emergencies without going into debt. That's success. That's the system working. Compare that to their friend who didn't save. Same 3 emergencies, all on credit cards, now carrying $600 in debt plus interest. Same year, completely different outcome. Look, I'm not going to tell you the $20 rule will make you rich. It won't. I'm not going to tell you this is the only thing you need to do with your money. It's not. What I will tell you is this: if you're broke, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you've never been able to build savings before, this works. The difference between having $0 saved and having $500 saved is not $500. It's the difference between panic and peace. It's the difference between I'm screwed and I can handle this. It's the difference between feeling like a failure and feeling like you're finally getting somewhere. In 2025, almost half of young adults can't cover a $2,000 emergency. Don't be in that half. Start with $20. Build the habit. Watch it grow. Prove to yourself that you can do this, because you can. You absolutely can. The question isn't whether the $20 rule works. The question is whether you're going to try it. And if you're still watching this video, I think you already know the answer.